This is Gippsland FM, your community connection on a beautiful, well, very hot sunny day. It was a little bit misty this morning, and then that cleared right up, and it's quite warm out there. Tomorrow, yeah, we could be in for a bit of a storm, but looks at it if the weather is right, but we never know with the weather forecast. But at the moment, there's a possible storm later in the day, and then we'll be clearing up again. So we've got all the seasons here in Latrobe City. This is Business, Wealth and Mental Health, the show that explores how thriving businesses, wise financial management, and peaceful relationships are good for your mental health. And today, I have a very special guest with me. I've got Fiona Sorensen from Sorensen Cleaning and Support. Fiona, pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Oh, you're welcome. It's really, I mean, it's nice and cool in here too.
Yeah, that's it.
We noticed it was a bit hot. Tell us a little bit about, let's go back in the Wayback Machine. Some people remember this as a silver DeLorean. And I've got to clarify that sometimes. I had some younger people on the show and they're looking at me with strange looks going, what is that? But let's jump in that. Let's hit 88 miles an hour. You're not originally from here, but you have lived here for a long time?
Yeah, about 20-ish years now. Was born and raised for a little bit in Canberra as a youngster and then moved on over here.
How old were you when you came?
Oh, I think I must have been maybe 8-ish.
So plenty of time to get fully indoctrinated.
Yeah. Exactly that, learn the ways.
And then when you went through schooling here, obviously, and were working, what was it that drove you to start your own business?
Probably that I have two young kids and the boss that I had at the time wasn't very flexible when they were unwell. Okay. And that's not ideal when you have kids.
No, definitely not.
It's never planned.
And so the boss wasn't too flexible and you decided for more time, I'll start my own business.
I did.
How did that work out?
I was a little bit incorrect with that. Business definitely kept me on my toes, keeps me on my toes. I think the work-life balance side of things is something that you don't realise that you kind of have to wear all the hats when running a business, or I didn't at the time. Just looking for that source of income and had to put food on the table.
What was the biggest wake-up call that you had when you say you had to wear all the hats? Which hat were you most surprised that you had to wear?
Oh, that's a tricky one. Probably ensuring that everything's up to date, all the insurances, making sure that I was paying workers correctly, minimum wage, everything like that, fair work cover, all the fun stuff.
So all that admin-y type.
Yeah.
And is it, I mean, I'm just thinking about that, because the government wants to encourage people to be, to start businesses, because it's a big part of the economy.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are turned away by that kind of red tape. And
it's a scary step.
It's a scary step.
Yeah. There is a lot of support out there, thankfully, now.
Yeah.
I went through, being Indigenous, we had Many Rivers, who they're a support agency, and they definitely led me in the right direction with a lot of things, more like a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And it was definitely required at the time when I was starting up.
And yeah, well, you won an award recently on that Indigenous front. Tell us a little bit about that.
I was not expecting it at all.
Yeah.
I got the email, and when I first got it, to be honest, I thought it was a spam email. I get a lot of them sometimes.
There's a lot
and
of those out
then
there.
I saw a lot on social media, and I'm like, oh, this is real. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So it was very exciting, and then we won. So that was even more of a shock to the system.
What was that like? What did that feel like when it sunk in?
Oh, all of the emotions at once. I had everyone on the table being like, oh, and I'm like, is this really happening?
Because
it was very exciting.
Yeah, I would imagine you put a lot of effort into getting the business up and running. There's a lot of hard work,
late nights.
a lot of late nights. And to feel that recognised by the community that you're in. Is that
a bit wild. Never thought it would happen. I thought it was just little old me cleaning some toilets to begin with, to be honest, and now here I am.
And tell us about that too. I mean, for people starting a business, because when you think about it, you would think the cleaning market, especially home cleaning, is more of a discretionary item. And we're not known here for being the most abundant of locations, affluence, that kind of thing. Was that a challenge for you?
As soon as word of mouth hit, it wasn't.
Yeah. When you say word of mouth, what do you mean by that?
You clean for one person, then it kind of gets passed on. Hey, I have this great cleaner, they're doing great, and then they want you there, and then it just grew like wildfire. It was wild.
I love that you've just said that, because in a lot of the businesses that I've dealt with and work with, a lot of people don't fully understand the power of word of mouth.
Wild. You got to make sure it's a good word of mouth.
Yeah, well, that is the thing, isn't
yeah,
it?
exactly.
Because it works both ways, regardless of, and you may not be aware of it, because a lot of people won't publicly say that they don't like your business, but they will tell others, and then you're wondering why you're struggling and you're doing advertising.
That's
But as you've said there, and I really want to hit that home for the listeners, is that if you get that right, all of a sudden it takes off. Was that because am I reading into that?
That's exactly correct.
Yeah. Was there anything specifically you did to make sure that that quality was there?
I think it's the little things like before the client gets home, turning on the diffuser, the toilet paper folding, all the cute little things, folding the washing when they don't expect it. Love that.
Yeah, I noticed that with your cleaning as well, because we do have a connection here. But that toilet paper folding, it's there, and it stands out.
It does, and it's a very strange little thing, but it's definitely something that stands out, and they're like, oh. It's a nice little thing when you sit down and see that.
And that's the other thing I wanted to get to. When you look at that kind of thing, how much extra effort, if any, is it to do those little things?
Honestly,
and how much difference does it make?
Absolutely nothing to do it, but it makes a world of a difference.
Yeah. So this is where I just love that you brought that up. I was like, and this is not scripted for the people listening.
On to you.
Because it's one of those things that I really just try to impress on people. It's that little difference that makes a difference, that leads to the word of mouth. Do you do anything in respect of referrals? That's another one of my little bugbears.
So we have a little incentive program. So at the moment, if there's a referral from a client, there's a certain percentage off their next clean, which they love.
Yeah.
And then
So
for
you're
our
ticking all
work,
the boxes
yeah.
here.
And then to keep the workers happy, we get before and after photos.
Yeah.
And each set of photos gets 2 points. And at the end of the month, there's a big shebang of who gets the most points. They get a $100 bonus, and some gift cards are handed out, and all the feedback and everything else like that.
So where did you learn to do that? Where did you learn these things to just put that little bit extra in and get the referral service as well, or the referral system, I should say?
Great question. I think it's all that late at night thinking.
Yeah.
That those things that keep you up at night, where you're like, what could I do to make it better?
That's a great question.
Yeah. And so it never leaves your mind.
Yeah. So you were, but I do wonder about that, whether other people have that question as well, where they're asking that question.
No, that's it.
So that kept you awake late at night.
Yeah. A lot of things do.
What are the little things I can do better?
Exactly.
And
how to reward the staff, because they do an amazing job.
Yeah. Well, you do have amazing staff. They're very polite. They're very friendly. They go to. Was it difficult and is part of that the hiring process? Are you selective in who you hire? Is it a case of
a little bit? We usually do the trial process first, see how they go, make sure they're good working in both team and solo.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
Is it a case of, have you had experiences? Because I wonder about employing people, whether you look at their skill set or whether you look a bit more at the character as well.
It's definitely a bit of both.
Yeah.
We've had some come from like a completely different skill set and jump into this, and some of the best workers I've ever had.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, getting the feel of them when you have that initial interview, and then seeing how they go to work with, and obviously how reliable they are and all that other fun stuff.
How much of is it that feeling as well? Because that leads me, that's a leading question, because I want to take
probably a little bit more of the feeling than the skill set.
Well, this
so
is what
first impressions always.
Yeah, and that's what I was wondering from that perspective, and this is where I'm leading to, is how much of that is actually listening to what's going on with the employee when you're interviewing them.
Yeah, that's the main part. And it's kind of getting that connection with them too, because obviously when you go meet a new employer, you're very, very nervous. It's an interview. You don't want to go down that path, but you're there because you need to pay the bills.
Yes.
But then most of my staff are like family now. They get to that point, and I know that's a bit against the rules, but you care about each of them. They're little family.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting that you're talking about creating that family environment.
Yeah.
Is that hard to do? I mean, because families don't always get along.
Yeah, and sometimes there's some hiccups, don't you worry. But it's about working it out, and if there is a hiccup, talking them through it, having the right processes in place, everything like that.
And what about, let's take a step back to, because the award you won was most popular Indigenous.
I still can't believe it.
And also to, I mean, as you mentioned, starting up as an Indigenous business,
Mm.
what was there any specific challenges that relate to being Indigenous that held you back, or that you had to overcome, I should say?
Unfortunately, there has been a few. It is racist. A few racist clients, and because we've been referred to them, say, by an NDIS coordinator, and then they've seen our logo,
Yeah.
know what we are, they're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
And that really sucks.
Yeah,
Which,
it's unfortunate, that kind of thing.
yeah.
Is that majority or a minority, or?
Only a little bit, thankfully, which is lovely, but when it does come, it's a real kick.
Yeah, I can imagine. But there are.
Yeah,
I can't use the correct terminology for them on live radio.
I feel that.
There are some of those people around in the world, and I think there always will be. We've got to get it.
You can't win them all.
And what about as well, because cleaning is not the only business that you've set up. You've got a charity as well. Tell us a bit about the charity.
So we run Paid Forward. It's a community hub over in Newborough, the big blue shop near Foodworks.
Yeah.
We basically have emergency food relief, free clothing to those in need. We mainly cater for kids, just because of the space at the moment. We don't have a lot of storage. But if anyone's in need, we've had a couple of referrals from, say, VACA and other outgoing organisations, and they have a family that's in need, just getting out of DV or anything like that, that come in. We give them all the clothes and everything they need, emergency food hampers. We also work closely with a couple of providers who make meals and then donate them to us, so that's also awesome. And we have freezer room now, which is even better.
Oh, awesome. So it's Paid Forward, and you're near the IGA in Newborough.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to step back here because
I'm zooming along.
Yeah. No, but what I want to understand is, so you're a mother of two.
Yep.
And,
Here we go.
and you wanted some time for yourself, so you start a small business, and then obviously wanting more time for yourself, you've said, I'll start a charity.
Yeah.
How does that work?
It makes zero sense. But I bring the kids to work some days and they absolutely adore it. They have their own work shirts, and they have the little kids corner in the office, so they're drawing, and my son actually thinks he's a supervisor.
Okay.
And our wonderful volunteer Lorraine can vouch for that.
Yeah.
Walks around
Is he
telling
bossy?
everyone, a bit rough around the edges
Yeah.
sometimes.
Is it hard,
That's
Marco?
not where it goes.
Yeah, not where it goes, exactly. So he's quality control by the sounds of it.
He's good at it, I give him that.
But has that helped with the connection as well with your children?
It's actually really good. Like, even sometimes when people come in, when the kids see them there, hey, who's that? How can we help? Kind of thing. And it's actually really adorable to see. And even when we get home, sometimes Dean's going through his clothes and things, and he's like, I could donate this. And I'm like, you can. Do you want to do that? And he's like, yeah, it'll help someone else. And I'm like, raised right.
Well, and this is what I'm wondering as well when you're talking about that, because I've had Chris Dunn from Three Bears Barbecue on here as well, and his kids and his wife kids work, Maria, their children work in the business.
Food.
Oh, it is really good food, exactly. Very filling.
Food on the mind.
Very filling. But he talks about how the children have really developed by being part of that business, and I'm just wondering, you've got a mum of two children, you're running your own business, but you're integrating your life with them, and I'm just wondering how that makes an impact compared to if you come home and you sit in front of the TV, the kids in the room by themselves playing computer games.
That's it.
Is that do you find that it becomes a stress to do that?
Depends on the day.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be an absolute nightmare, but other days it's easy going and it's lovely.
Yeah.
And the kids are good, and
I think most parents could say there are days when things are a bit of a nightmare.
it's like a roller coaster. But most days are good out of the mall.
And what was it that inspired you to want to do that? To start a charity.
I didn't have the best upbringing,
Yeah.
so there was a lot of refuges, DV, all that fun stuff. And I saw in this area especially, there is a need for it, and always wanted to help people. And we had the income coming in from the business to fund the office to start the charity, so
Yeah.
it all happened.
So it became something that, well, it sounds like it was always something you wanted to do to give back. Is that right? Is that part of your upbringing? Was it something that you learned from your parents, or where did that come from?
I think I learned it from my parents in a way,
Yeah.
but probably not the best way.
Not the best way?
yeah. But no, I just
So is that,
always want to help.
like, yeah, so again, you're always wanting to help. Was that sort of because there was something not there, and something you wanted to give back? Is that, I know it's just a little bit personal.
No, not at all. I think it was, seeing how, and it wasn't just me, it was, I saw so many different families going through the same thing and having nowhere to go, and what do you do? Who do you reach out to? And even at the office, we have referrals for where to go, and it's somewhere you can sit down, have a chat, let it all out, and we can help as much as we can.
How important is that when you notice that in other people, that they've got somewhere to just have a chat?
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Not even a feeling I can describe. Being able to help people in need is just, I feel like a little part of me.
Yeah.
It sounds a bit strange, but something I've always wanted to do.
Well, I mean, it does. In some ways, it may sound strange, but I know there's a lot of research that shows actually giving back is really good for your physical and mental health. Is that your experience?
So far, so good.
So far,
A little bit of stress sometimes at night, but keeps me on my toes.
Keeps you on your toes?
Yeah, that's it.
What is it with, what do you think was the biggest learning experience that you had? I'm going to jump back to your business now. In starting up the business, what do you think was the biggest learning experience, the biggest challenge you personally had to overcome?
Oh, COVID.
COVID?
110% COVID hands down. That was a nightmare to coordinate.
And was it the coordination of COVID? Because I'm looking at the personal growth type things where.
Personal growth.
Yeah, but let's go with COVID first, and we can come back.
Yeah, all right, we'll go back. So COVID. During that time, we were still able to go out and do cleans because we have a lot of NDIS clients, and obviously they can't go without. But it was all the paperwork.
Yeah.
There was a lot of government regulations. You had to have slips to say that you could go out. And just a nightmare.
No, I remember getting, because I was out around too. There was lots of.
Can't go to the park. I tell you what, the kids weren't on board with it.
No. And then taking it back from where I was originally wanting to go with this question.
Sorry.
No, that was good. Because a lot of people had that stress of paperwork with COVID, and just, there was a lot of stress all around with COVID. But yourself, when you think about your business experience, what were some of the? Because a lot of times when we do things, and I had this discussion with my son's karate sensei, we're talking about whether things are hard or easy. And I said to him, look, it's really a matter of skill. You're a 7th Dan black belt. If I asked you to do grading at yellow belt level, would that be hard or easy? And you'd go, be easy. And I said, well, it's because you're really skilled at that. So this is where I come back to when I'm working with businesses as well. It becomes getting that awakening of things can be really easy, because there are some people doing it really easily. That's not to say there's not effort there. They're two very different things. Effort and hard or easy are two different things. And so I just wanted to step back from your perspective. What was that, where you had those things where you're really struggling and then realized, okay, actually, I need to do something different?
Oh, that's a tough question. Probably the work-life balance thing.
Yeah.
That and overcoming all the big anxiety steps. Because I'm not. If asked me 5 years ago if I would have done this, I would have been like, absolutely not.
I know so many business people that say the same thing. If they knew what they had to go through.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
The work-life balance, let's unpack that a little bit. What is it? What was it about the work? Because you said you're up late thinking about, what are those little things I can do that impinges on your time. What was it about the work-life balance that was really struggling?
It would be the after-hours contact, having to have that shut-off time and not, doing emails all late hours at night, having that time that you're like, all right, that's done. This is tomorrow's problem.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult.
Is that part of delegation as well? Because I know a lot of business owners struggle with letting go and actually delegating it to someone else because no one else is going to do it as good as they're going to do it.
That's certainly, yeah, but that's a good one.
Does that put you in the control freak category?
A little bit, yeah. So I have wonderful admin staff that go above and beyond.
Yeah.
However, I'm a very, but I can do it.
Yes.
Then I don't have to show someone how to do it. But I'm definitely learning the way. So I've slowly passed on things.
How did you go through that process of, okay, I can let go? Because that's one of the biggest things that we all face. And we've just actually with a co-author in Reno, Nevada, we're just finishing a book for CEOs, which is about that personal development that you go through, that you need to go through to make it easier for you as the boss. What was it? How did you actually go, okay, it's me here that I need to do things differently?
It's pretty close to burning out, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is it that exhaustion factor that kicks in?
Yeah. I'm like, uh-oh, wait a minute, I can't keep doing all of this.
Yeah. Is there a way that, this is one question I always have is, I look at it and go, well, if someone's doing it a more easier way, and we're being belligerent and saying, no, I'm going to do it my way. Is there something
Giving
that we
shock
can?
To the system.
Well, this is what I want to get to: is it actually possible? If you were to step back now and go and give yourself some advice, from then just going, this is what you need to do to actually listen to go, okay, actually I can do this slightly differently without all the stress.
I'm sure I told myself that a couple of years ago. Yeah.
So we're paying it forward here and giving other people advice.
Yeah, exactly. All about paid forward.
Yes. Got to get the plug.
It's just so difficult. I think, it really comes down to having that realization, and it's so tricky. It's so tricky to be like, all right, I can't keep doing all of this. Like, there's only so much I can do. And when you find the right staff, and bless my staff, they are the right staff, then you can start delegating and you kind of see everything settle down a little bit. You're like, oh, I don't have to worry about that this Friday. This one's got it. And it's lovely. And I think that's also how it started, because I'm mainly doing the admin side of things as well now. And I stopped cleaning and I was like, oh, this is strange.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm wondering. Is it that feeling of you feel uncomfortable because you say this is strange, and is that what you were experiencing when you sat back and go actually, and you feel uncomfortable like you should be doing
sit and breathe for a minute. Yeah, exactly.
And relaxation feels uncomfortable, doesn't it?
100%. Yeah, no, it's a very, very strange feeling.
Yeah, to have that little bit of time.
And then you try and fill it with something. Exactly. That's it. But then it gives you more time to do things, to grow and.
Well, a friend of mine had similar experience. With his business, he said the day I stopped working in the business and working on the business,
yes,
it made a massive difference. Was that your experience?
Yeah, that was good.
That's the air conditioner.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
Because now that I can start delegating them things, I can finally look at all these other aspects.
Yeah, as in, again, we're coming back to those small little things that make the difference.
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about?
100%, yeah.
Because there's one thing to do then, this is where I find people struggle as well in business, is you can get in there and do a really good job. But then when you actually have staff, you've got to train them to do a good job, which is a different skill set. Was that a leap for you as well?
It was at the start. So when I had under 5 staff members, it was a little bit tricky. But now I have senior cleaning staff, and then they can teach the newbies, and it works out well. I don't even have to do that. It's great.
Yeah. Well, and this is what I'm getting to is this control thing of wanting to control everything, but then actually going, okay, no, actually there's things that I need to focus on, and then delegate and have systems in place.
I think sometimes you don't even realise that you're delegating it. Like, it just happens,
yeah.
and it's lovely.
So you kind of wake up and like the elves, the shoemaker's elves?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's all done.
It's nice.
Did you have any specific systems that you put in place to make things work, or did you focus on making some systems for staff to follow?
We did. We have a policy and procedures workbook that's kind of like the go-to when starting. So all the staff get a workbook for that, and also on the job training. So say if we have an end of lease and we have a worker that wants to do end of leases but isn't too comfortable, then we kind of add them in, see how they go, give them feedback, all the fun stuff.
So
And
you
I
do have
Yeah.
policies and procedures
Yes,
as a
yes,
system.
yes.
Exactly.
need that one.
It's one of those admin things that you go, I don't want to be writing this, but you're writing it anyway.
32 pages later, I'm like, oh, thank God that's done.
Exactly. Well, we've only got about a minute to go.
Yeah.
What would you be your takeaway? You've got your business, which is fantastic. Congratulations again on winning that award. You've also got the charity as well that you've got set up. What would be a key takeaway that you'd want to give people that are listening to the show? What would you want them to take away, to embody going forward?
Whatever it is, absolutely do it.
Yeah.
Business-wise, not. Don't give me crimes. Oh my goodness.
Don't go do donuts.
No, don't do that. But if you have a passion and there's something that you want, it's your dream, just do it. Reach out, find support. Yeah.
It's
So
kind of
that's your
funny how
inspiration
when we
for
go
the
through that loop, we go, okay, we started a business. I wanted to have this free time. Now, if I'm looking back, I wouldn't have done it. But then when you get to the
It's
advice,
worth
it's
it.
always, let's go and do it.
Yeah. Oh, just wing it.
So give us a plug for your business. Where do people find you? How do they learn about you?
So 27 Ballara Avenue in Newborough is us, right near Foodworks. We're open 9 till 2, Monday to Friday. And online we have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and we also have a website, www.sorensencleaning.com.au.
Fantastic. We'll put all that in the show notes. Fiona, thank you very much for taking time to come on the show. It's been wonderful having you. Thank you for going deep and sharing some of that personal information as well.
Oh, all good, anytime.